Hello there and welcome. Just how much marketing technology do you need? Apparently, the answer? It's more. It's always more. The newest Martech Landscape, developed by Scott Brinker, is out this week, and every year, like the last 12 years, the answer to how many more marketing technology solutions are out there in the world? Yeah, you guessed it, more. Want to know more? Well, this is 5 minutes of what you need to lead in marketing. Let's roll. Hello everybody, Robert Rose here with the news. It is what's new, but as you all know by now, it's really what's important in the world of marketing. And for the best and best practices in content and marketing, you can head on over to contentmarketinginstitute.com. So this week, on May 2nd, in what is now known as International Martech Day, yes, and I didn't get you the Hallmark card that I promised you, so I apologize for that. Scott Brinker, the wonderful Scott Brinker, the editor at chiefmartech.com and also the VP of Platform Ecosystems at HubSpot, and that is one hell of a title, released his latest Martech Landscape report. Now, if you don't know Brinker, he has been creating the Martech Landscape Technology Report, well, since 2011. And each year, the number of solutions that are being covered by it continues to grow exponentially. From just 150 solutions covered in the introductory report 12 years ago to more than 11,000 solutions in this year's report. Each year, Scott also tends to launch a new way to view the ever-increasing amount of data that reporting these technologies trends tends to take. This year, the feature is a technology capability heat map, and it reveals the most popular capabilities. And unsurprisingly, this year, well, yes, you might have guessed, personalization. It tends to be the thing that we're all thinking about when a technology solution comes to mind these days. Further, the Martech Map is a completely interactive way to search by category, rating, number of employees, and a few other parameters that can help you reduce down the number of technology solutions you may be viewing. It's an incredibly interesting tool and certainly makes looking at 11,000 solutions much easier. So what's our take about all this at CMI? Well, along with the Trust Barometer that's done by Edelman every year, I think this might be one of the most remarkable examples of B2B content marketing that exists. Hats off to Scott for once again continuing to evolve and make this tool much more useful and much more valuable every year. Having said that, there are some nuances to this year's trends that I think can offer a bit more perspective. One of the trends from this year's reports Marketech.org is actually reporting on is that there is more and more focus on acquiring technology that enables quote-unquote two-way data flows between data warehouses and frontline solutions like customer data platforms. Now, I don't disagree with that at all, but in our experiences, it's a bit more basic than this tech word soup speaks to. What we see in businesses of all sizes is that the idea of a quote-unquote data warehouse, yeah, that might as well refer to having your own starship. Most businesses don't simply have data warehouses. Aligning or de-siloing audience data, customer data, content consumption data is still something that most brands, even the biggest companies on the planet, really struggle with. In fact, in many ways, the bigger the company, the more likely it is that their marketing data is siloed in multiple marketing technologies. So we do see big initiatives to start to see and make that data flow a little bit better. But more than acquiring more solutions to do this, what we're seeing is that companies are trying to really get decisions on which one of those sources might become the source of the truth when it comes to that marketing data. Might be a marketing automation system, might be a CRM solution, might be a customer data platform, or any and all of the above. This leads us to the second trend that Martech.org noted in this year's landscape, which was the quote-unquote composability emerging in a number of categories, including DXPs, commerce, and CDPs. Again, with the technology mumbo-jumbo jargon there, if we peel back that techno word SERP, what we see is this trend means is that as businesses try to get their arms around de-siloing all that audience data, it's also trying to get our arms around de-siloing all that content we're creating. As content becomes a much more strategic approach for business, it just makes sense to find a single source of the truth for the content and the data, where we can store or make available or make it easy to find all of our marketing content and then have it served, yes, kind of as a service to all the different places that content needs to serve. So, these two trends make up the bulk of what we see in our content strategy and marketing consulting practice. Getting a single or at least fewer sources of the truth when it comes to managing content, and getting a single or again, at least fewer sources of the truth when it comes to the data we're gathering on the audiences consuming that content. More than AI, more than analytics, more than personalization, most businesses' priority should be organizing the foundational way that they manage content and the data that it produces. In fact, it's really how all those other things will actually fit into the productivity. It's not necessarily sexy work, that's for sure. It's about fixing the plumbing and electrical in your house. When it's working great, you hardly see it, but it might just be the most important thing you can do. So have a look. Take a look at the Martech Landscape. It's always a great education on what's happening in the tools that we're using. And let us know, what are your most important technologies that you're thinking about here in 2023? What are you thinking about implementing and creating to be the single source of the truth for your content and your data? But for now, that's it. That's 5 minutes of what you can use to hopefully lead your marketing strategy. I'm Robert Rose, and remember, it's your story to tell. Tell it well. I'll see you next week.